Hey guys, Simon or MTG Misprint here with Eric for another This Old Deck.
Yes, yes. First off, congratulations on being the best, the most played episode of 2023. This will probably maybe also be the most played episode of 2024 because I don't have a whole lot on the schedule for this year.
Yeah.
But let's just get down to it. Let's just talk Festival of Friendship. I am sad I didn't make it out to this year, but I already pre-planned something else. But Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, yeah, over MLK weekend.
Yep.
This is the third one. The original one was in 2019.
Yep. I was
Then
at
there
that one.
was, I think we played at that one,
That's the
right?
first time we met in
Right. Yeah,
person.
we played
Yeah.
at that one. I think I came third or fourth. I don't remember.
You fucking stomped me is all I remember. I just remember being like, I didn't know what half your cards were because they were literally all, I didn't know who you were. They
I
were
think
all
I
fucking
remember you asking me,
misprints.
you're like, "What does this card do?" And I'm like, "Okay, let me tell you what it does." And you're like, "But what is this other bit of the card?"
Yes. I was like, I don't get, like, I knew what misprints were, but I didn't know what yours
Right.
were. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then like the games were over. It was fine. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. History.
So they've been going a while, but obviously they stopped during COVID. So I think there was one pre-COVID. I think it was 19, and then there was another one that they did online. I didn't play in that one, I don't think. That was kind of during COVID. And then we started back the Hurricane, which is the Houston event last year. The Austin guys have been coming to that event. They've been a bit slow to get back on to the old school horse post pandemic. They really hit vintage hard. They
Yeah.
hit middle school hard. So they're putting on events, but I think they just don't have as much of a big player base. I think San Antonio and Houston, there's a little bit more of an old school, or maybe more old school centric. Austin is kind of vintage middle school, maybe more centric, but they do like it as kind of just like another flavor to add to their sort of mix. But so yeah, they added it back in, which I'm very happy about that. Trying to get this Texas event's back on the Texas calendar because otherwise I have to fly forever. I have to play online or fly for every event. So
And
between
it's good
this
to
and
mention that Austin is an international airport that's very easy to fly into from basically like I can fly into Austin fairly easily. I think, don't quote, but I think there's a direct flight from the West Coast. I know there is
yeah,
from the East.
and also, quite frankly, if you couldn't, you could fly into Houston or San Antonio and carpool
Just make
with
the trip.
someone from San Antonio or Houston.
Yeah, it's easy to get to.
So yeah, so and I mean, you could fly into Dallas, but there's more people in
Ooh,
Houston
yeah, yeah.
and well, Dallas is super easy to fly into. Unfortunately, it just is. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but it's not. It's everyone's least favorite city in Texas, I think,
Correct,
is
correct.
the way to say that. So yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, it's about 2.5, 3 hour drive from Houston, just depending. It was Friday afternoon, so we got stuck
Yeah,
in a bit of traffic. We had the impending kind of winter storm coming, the
yeah.
freeze coming. So one of the guys, he was a bit worried, so he was like, "I'm leaving my home," and then an hour later, is like, "I had to wrap my pipes." So we're like, "Okay, like no big deal." So we set out a little bit later than we wanted to, so we got up in a bit more traffic than we were expecting, but made it kind of uneventfully to Austin. I was the strong arm of making everyone deciding all of our food decisions for the weekend.
Good,
So
good, Simon. You got good
y-
food decisions, dude. They should. It was good that they listened to you.
yeah, so we started off with Egyptian barbecue.
Nice.
um, at this Egypt. It was just like a food truck barbecue kind of place outside of a bar, but it was great. Everybody enjoyed it. So a good start. And then our Airbnb we could not have picked a closer place to Tweedy's. Tweedy's was the venue for Saturday. One of the Austin guys, one of his bars. But I tried to get something close, but it was. I mean, it was like 4 units away. It was like the bar, and then there's a row of townhouses, and we were like on the end of the row of townhouses.
Perfect. Perfect spot.
Yes.
Perfect.
So it was great. Exactly. So we're super close. So we actually just went and had some drinks Saturday night at Tweedy's. So which was good. We could walk there and walk back. End the night with some mezcal shots. We played some old
Yeah.
school Cards Against Humanity. and the person that was in the Airbnb before us, they had left their YouTube signed in, so we messed with
Good.
their algorithm a bunch.
That's always like really. I find it hard to like. YouTube's tough because like recently I've been like looking at poker stuff because I went to Vegas, right? But now I
Mhm.
don't care. But now
Mhm.
YouTube's like, all you want to know about is poker, right? I'm like, no, dude. I did for like 2 months, and now I don't want to hear about it ever again.
Yeah. So I hope this guy, he is appreciative of. I made everyone watch some of the guys hadn't seen I Think You Should Leave, so we watched a bunch of skits of that. We watched Portishead, the concert live at Roseland, which is if anyone likes Portishead, highly recommended. It's a concert from the 90s that's filmed in like a cathedral in somewhere in New York. Oh no, this is the Roseland Ballroom. I'm getting confused. There's a Bjork concert that's in a cathedral that's also from the 90s. It's excellent. But Portishead Live at the Roseland is also excellent. So we watched that, plus a bunch of music, plus whatever anyone else wanted. And when we went out, we like put on Spanish Pepper Pig, just to, just to like really put the knives in.
Good.
So yeah, so this was all through the weekend. We were just putting random stuff on YouTube
Excellent.
on the TV, which was pretty good. So yeah, and then the early morning late night pizza, and then we were Saturday, uh, and we were all old men, so we were up at like 8 a.m. and shower.
Yeah, everybody's like drinking coffee. You're like, all right, 3 hours till the event even opens. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, we went to bed late too, like really late. Like that's the thing, right? I have to wake up to go to work, and I can't like I hate it. I'm terrible at waking up. I
Mhm.
don't go to bed particularly late. I get in bed quite early. I'm a reader, so I like get in bed and read before I go to sleep. But like wake up in the morning, it sucks. But then you go away. I don't have kids. I don't have the responsibility, and then I'm up. Like I cannot sleep a minute past 7 a.m.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what the hell?
yeah.
Like,
It's just part about getting older. It's just like we're becoming our parents. It's unfortunate, but like same
yeah,
thing happened to me today. Like got up at 5 o'clock. Didn't want to. Got
yeah.
up though. Fuck it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, lots of tea and coffee, and we ordered in some breakfast. And the venue was opening at 10, but some of the organizers were getting there at 9, so we didn't have too long to wait. So we went and just like kind of helped set up, though they pretty much had it covered. I did have to wait a little bit for the bar to open before I could get my morning ritual Bloody Mary. As that's my preferred first drink of every old school Magic tournament that starts in the morning is pave the way for the day.
Did they play their vintage the day before, or are they playing the day after?
They played on Sunday, so they
They
played the
played on
day
Sunday.
after.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So they were busy setting up because actually we had a stream. So
Oh yeah, I'll link that. I'm gonna link that.
Romancing the
Okay.
Stones. Yeah, yeah. There was a Twitch stream. So they streamed 5 rounds of old school. There was 5 rounds. So there's 26 players, 5 rounds of old school. And they did a different match each round. So pretty fun.
Nice.
Um, Rob, one of the Austin guys, was nice enough to like volunteer his time to do the streaming. So I think it was just him solo for most of the day in the
Ooh.
basement of the building.
Ooh.
Yeah, because we had to run the cables or whatever. So he was running cables when we got there downstairs. So but yeah, so I mean that was pretty cool. You don't get that a lot. Not a lot of old school events really streaming, other than the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Sort of the NewCon or what have you. And that's more of a variety show than a Magic stream, I think, at this point.
Yeah, it's not as curated. When we get to goals and objectives, I'm gonna bring that back up. I got some
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, that's cool. Yeah, so yeah, 26 players, 5 rounds. I decided to play shops with red, like ATOG shops.
Okay.
Hurricane last year. So we used the Boreal rule set for the first time. We usually use EC. That's kind of the
Ooh.
Texas
Yeah.
special. I was like, I want more decks, and Boreal adds Twiddle Vault,
Yeah.
and has a couple extra tweaks to it. It's not significantly different
It's just
than
enough different that it matters.
yeah, just enough different. I mean, adding a whole other deck that's actually good is
Mhm.
relevant. And somebody did play Twiddle Vault. So,
I like
um,
it because it has the most freedoms. Like it has the least restrictions of all the rule sets. Mine is just like fuck it. kitchen table.
So I've been touting this for a while and I couldn't get traction, but let's I did mention it to the Austin guys. We'll bring it up here. I've been touting that there should be a Texas rule set called YOL,
Okay.
and it should just be basically Boreal but plus infinite Playgrass. So
fuck it.
It's all the things. It's all the things.
That I mean, like, I'm sure we could reach out to the Canadians and just get them to add that. Like, it's fine. You could probably just do it. Like, if you sat down at a Boreal event and somebody played a 5th Playground, you'd be like, okay, like I'm not gonna stop. Like,
I mean, I'm not. You know, I feel like if it was up to the San Antonio crew and Mark, they'd be going for it's Boreal rules plus you're allowed 5th strip mine.
Look, if you're playing Mark Brothers, you better count the strips. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. He might just slip one in there.
Yeah, I mean, so it was good. I mean, I think it's nice. I really like the change up between formats. The Hurricane was EC last year. I played kind of blue, black, white shops. This I played blue, red, black shops, like 4 togs. So not super different. I wasn't really sure. I was actually until probably a week before the event, 3 days before the event, I was going to play Sedgetog, so basically Togs and Sedge Trolls.
Okay.
And I was just like, I don't know, I just wasn't sold on it. And so I flipped last minute to building this and built this 1 or 2 days before the event. So deck was good though. I can send you a deck list, or it's on my Instagram. I tried post by.
I got it. I got it off you.
Yeah.
Do we want to cut to the chase about how you did with your deck, or you want to run through it?
I can run through it, but not to the sense. I'm not gonna do you a play by play. I think basically I had one interesting round.
Okay.
I would say so, but I think the decks I played are actually interesting because we can break to the chase. I won the event. I went 5-0. I should not have won the event.
Okay.
You'll hear that when you hear the decks that I played.
Okay.
Right. I should not have won. So round 1, I played against Stasis. Actually not a bad matchup because I do have Icy. So like I can really mess with the tap. Yeah. I can tap an extra island when they're trying to just like play an island every turn. So and I also have 3 Rebs in my sideboard. So that one was a relatively easy one. Next, so my second round was actually my most interesting round. I won game 1, and all I see is basically blue-white control stuff. So I'm putting them on the deck, some sort of blue-white control, maybe a Esper, Flyers. I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of constrained his mana base, got there with the robot, right? It takes 5 turns with a 4/4, right? So you can kind of kill him kind of quickly. Didn't know exactly what he's on. Game 2, he plays turn 2 Sarah Angel off Lotus. I had mulligan to 6, and my bottom was a Fireball, the one Fireball in my deck, which is the correct mulligan, but was really bad in this situation because I knew I didn't have an out, and I kept a very like heavy factory copy hand, which is good against the control decks, really bad against this one. So he just kills me. I played a Suchi and a Triskelion. He has counterspells or disenchants for both of them, so I just don't do anything. Now, game 3 is, again, this is probably the most interesting game I played all. So I will talk about this one because I think it's interesting, and then I'll skim through the other ones. We both play Library. I played actually a couple more Library games than I would have thought in 4 strip, right? You know,
right. Yeah.
But I played quite a few Library games. I'll talk about my other rounds. I did have a couple other Library games, but we played Drogo. I actually have Blood Moon in my hand. And also spoilers, if you look at my deck list, I always change a card at the last minute because I'm like terrible at changing my sideboard. My main deck is almost always locked. I like feel very comfortable with my main deck. The sideboard I kind of throw together and then try not to think about it. And then usually I wake up in the night, or I wake up the day before the event. I like try, because I never sideboard map, I never test, but I'm like, I want this card. You know, I dream up some wild scenario where I really need this specific card. And I decided I wanted to Animate Dead in my sideboard. That's a card I wanted. I wanted an Animate Dead in my sideboard. One, because there's traditionally a lot of him decks in Texas. And Animate Dead, when you Animate Dead a Triskelion against the black decks, they cry.
You're like, you're cool. It's over. Just fucking let's go to the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I drew that actually happened at Hurricane, where someone hymned me, turn 2, and then I animated a Triskelion. Yeah.
Easy.
And then like the next
Easy.
game, I just mulliganed to 5 to play a turn 1 Suchi. And I'm like, beat this. So anyway, yeah. So I wanted this anime dead, but I probably should have cut the Falling Star, but I have a miscut Falling Star plus Falling Stars. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't,
Yeah.
and I cut
You
a
gotta
Blood
play.
Moon. I cut the second Blood Moon, and I really like missed that on the day. It was definitely wrong. But I had the Blood Moon this matchup, but I'm like, I need this to resolve to make this game easier. And so I'm sort of playing around that, but I also want to library as much as possible. He's also librarying. I'm kind of I'm controlling the pace of the game though. I have IC. I'm hitting my land drops better than he is. He's struggling a little bit, and then I'm sort of changing the pacing of the game with when I'm librarying. I'm sometimes librarying on my turn. I'm sometimes librarying on his turn. And I think that was just giving him a little bit of a mental load. He was a good player, but like a legacy player. I think it's one of his first times playing old school. He missed a library activation. I play some threats. He plays counter spells or disenchants. For Triskelions and Suchis. We get to this point where like my hand is kind of stacked. I have multiple copy artifacts. I also have a fireball. I also have wheel and blood moon. So I'm trying to like pivot the game where I can cast this Blood Moon so that I can then either wheel or cast my copies and stuff. It's kind of tricky, right? Because once I Blood Moon, I kind of cast the copies, and then if I cast wheel, I'm gonna lose my fireball. So I'm trying to play out my cards as quickly as possible, but also keeping on library. But I also know that I also have the wheel. So I'm playing this kind of a weird game. Eventually I get him to tap between Icy and get him to cast spells. He taps down to I think it is Underground Sea and a colorless land, Strip Mine Factory. So I'm like, okay, this is my chance. Jam this Blood Moon. He has the Blue Elemental Blast.
Of
I'm
course.
just like,
Yeah.
I've been so patient. Anyway, he has the Blue Elemental Blast. I'm kind of slumping my seat. It's just bad. This is going to be a lot more difficult for me to win this game. He goes to his turn, like plays a land, and like brain geysers, like big brain geyser for 4 or something. He's tapped out, passes it back to me, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm wheeling.
Fuck him. Like
Yeah, and so I wheel, and like his hand is gas. His hand is like Mana Drain, Ancestral, like
got him.
Sarah Angel. It's the best hand he could have. Basically, he geysered into exactly what he wanted. So I wheel him. Then he kind of slumps a little bit. We play sort of draw go again. I cast a couple of Triskelions, but he immediately casts a Moat, which, as I mentioned, I'm on Tog with red, so I don't have any disenchants. So I have a Chaos Orb. I've already cast. So I've cast. He's already destroyed a Triskelion. I cast 2 Triskelions. He plays Moat, and then there's a weird turn where he plays double Divine Offering. He plays Divine Offering, and he's like, and Divine Offering. And I was like, okay, like that's how you want to do it. And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. And then so I showed him the Divine Offering trick, like take 2, ping itself, and he was like, oh. So he just hadn't seen it, so he missed it. So and then at that point is like, okay, well now I don't have any. I have 3 Trisks down. So he is low because I fireballed before I wheeled, like a couple times before I wheeled. I had fireballed him for 8 or something. So he's at like 8. But I have like a Triskelion, a copy, a Time Twister, and a Chaos Orb. Like
perfect.
and like maybe 1 or 2 sushis and factories, but like only if I get the Chaos Orb. Like are those relevant? So we get to a point eventually. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to time. We're going back and forth. He plays demonic, but doesn't really do anything. I'm not like sure what he's got, so I'm like, okay, maybe he has a way to win. He's just like sandbagging the counterspell, or he's gonna fireball me for 20 or whatever. He one turn though, he makes a mistake and he plays City Brass. So he's at 8. I get 2
and you
active.
have Icy out?
I had 1 IC out, and I get
You
another
didn't
IC
know.
out.
Yep.
Yeah. So just again, I think we're sort of trying to play fast, and I like eventually. Long story short, I kill him in turns with icy. Um, but I think an unwinnable game. Like, but to be fair, he couldn't have won either in time, and we would have gone to orb flips. And he's a new player, so I would back myself
Yeah.
very easily. But it probably should have been a draw or a loss. But if we go to orb flips, I think I'm good. But yeah, anyway, that was the most interesting. It was a really good game, but definitely my opponent just made being new. I mean, playing
New old school mistakes.
old school mistakes, and playing blue white control, playing the deck. That is not the easiest deck to play. Kind of what we all know.
Yep.
Small. You can't miss a library activation, right?
Yep. 100%.
These are all things you can't play the city brass. So anyway, I dodged a bullet on that. Next round, the deck again. I beat it 2-0.
Yep. Boop. Next. Yeah. Like,
Opponent taps out for brain geyser again, and I bottle him, blowing up 2 cities, and I win from there. And then next round opponent, the deck again.
oh man. Okay. That's a little bit more deck heavy than I thought it would be in Texas.
Way more deck heavy. I think there was one Hurricane was 40 people, and there was one person on the deck.
I can probably guess who that name was too. Yep.
Yeah. And so yeah, 3 decks in a row. So now I'm 4-0, and I've lost 1 game against the deck. That's it. So yeah, my strip mines, ices, just so good. I just really punished the City of Bottle, amazing as well. And then last round is against Mono Black. The same guy I played in Hurricane I think I played him in the last round in Hurricane 2. And he didn't know what I was on, but I knew what he's on because I finished my round. Because my round 4 match was I stripped, IC'd, and my opponent played 5 permanents in 2 games, which was just one of those games, one of those. But yeah, so I know he's on Mono Black. I played him again, like I said, at Hurricane. He goes and asks somebody what I'm playing, so he finds out what I'm playing, and he's like, "Oh, goddamn, shops," and I was like, "Yeah," but he doesn't know I'm on red chops. But anyway, so he sits down. He wins the die roll, so I lost the die roll every round. Well. So I lose the die roll again. He goes Swamp, Dark Ritual, Order, the Rack.
It's not bad. It's not
I go Shop, Lotus, Triskelion.
Yeah, I mean the game as soon you keep I imagine from a shop's perspective, you keep a Triskelion because it literally kills that's all you go for, right? Because it kills everything in the deck. Minus if he's playing Jusums, if he has them, which he probably doesn't, but
yeah, if you can cast a Triskelion in the first 3 turns, you keep it. I mean, you do have to be careful. They have 4 strips and they can have sinkholes. So they can definitely, you can't just keep a Triskelion to play on turn 5. Obviously, Shops is not trying to do that because you have Workshop. But you have these weird, also turn 1 or turn 2 Suchi is really good because a 4/4 is a problem for them. Then they basically have to get 4 black mana and an order in play to try to first strike. But then while they're doing that, it gives you time to Triskelion. And if they're doing that, they're not hemming you. So you get this weird interface, right? And they get 5 turns if you're Suchiing them. So yeah, it's an easy matchup. Yeah, so I beat him 2-0 as well. So I dropped 1 game on the day against blue white control. Shops. I shopped.
Yeah, shops doing shops things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean the Togs were good. I did enjoy the red version. I think I enjoyed it more than I played Juggernauts in Houston. Juggernaut shops again just to try it. Yeah, I did like the version. I mean Togs are good. And it just gives you such again the black deck too, what do they do against a Tog?
Nothing. They gotta keep something back, but your removal's better. There's not much they can do. Their best bet is to put out a disc, but even it's not great if they're even playing disc, right?
Yeah, I think he had disc in the side.
That's it.
The other thing is they just don't don't interact with artifacts whatsoever. So
yeah, that's the biggest problem with black. You always splash a card.
Exactly. So you can just cast your copy artifact. and there's nothing they can do to punish you. So, and I talked with them afterwards, and I was like, you have to splash blue or white. Like
Yeah.
you need to have, or red. Like you need energy flux and ancestral if you get blue. If you get white, you get divine offering, enchant, or swords. And if you get red, you at least get red elemental blast out the sideboard.
I think the
Which is
white
not that
splash is
good.
where I would be. But
Yeah, one of the guys, the Houston guys, he really likes that. He plays like a lot of black white. Actually, two of the guys really like it, but one of the guys that's like his normal is sort of a black white splashing. Like I think he might even have like 2 chants and 2 swords main, and the rest in the sideboard. So
yeah,
you can kind.
it's a very light splash.
It's a light splash, exactly, and the balance, and you get balance too.
Yep.
Which actually really good in your rack deck.
It's the poor man's, like, if you don't want to spend the money on blue and you don't want to buy like Underground Seas or whatever, I think it's the easier option because scrublands are cheap as fuck, and the rest of that stuff you can pick up for like pennies, basically, right? Like,
Yeah, the blue is probably really good against the tier 1 decks, I think.
yes, obviously, yeah,
Because then you just get, I guess you just get ancestral and like a sonic blast main, but in the sideboard you get energy flux, which is good against the deck.
mm-hmm.
It's good. It's fine against shops. It's much better against like the shops that are all in on icy. It is awkward when they just Suchi, right? They Suchi and sack their Suchi and pay for all their artifacts. That's like problematic. It's not great
Yep.
against Tog because like if you energy flux me, I just sack everything to Tog, and then
Yeah, you used to have a bigger problem actually.
yeah. So I don't know. It's but you need something. You need to force me to play around a power sink or an energy flux. Whereas if you just have mono black, I have nothing. I have Chaos Orb, which I don't have to play around that because it's on the table or not. So like you just play out your stuff. It makes it very simple to play.
I should also mention you can splash green before DFB fucking yells at me. You can, well, it's really green splash black, but
correct. Green
like,
splash black is good, but black splash green I don't think is a thing.
Yeah. That was a misnomer. Really green splash black.
It's green splash black because
yeah.
like if you're black, I mean you could play Crumble. It kills Factory is the only thing it does kill, which actually is relevant because Factory shuts down all your first strikers. You do get regrowth.
You get Crumble and you get Ice Storm with Elf, with both sets of elves, right? So like you can do something.
No. So if you're mono, yeah. So agree. So if you're if you're green black, agree. You get DFB green with you splash for Demonic, Mind Twist, Terror,
Yep.
and it's all the green cards. But if you're black, you could splash Crumble.
Black splash green. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
regrowth and Crumble.
Yeah, you would have to really like the card regrowth, I think. And I wouldn't want Crumble's not very good against shops because I'm just gaining a million life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in other matchups, like it might be fine because like Crumble is an instant and it kills Factory, which does, like I said, it shut downs all your first strikers. So like there could be something there. These are difficult. The mono black deck is like such a good budget deck, but once you start paying money for duels, you tend to
the
not
black
want
becomes a splash. Yeah.
It becomes not a black deck. So it's in kind of an awkward spot because like, do you really want to play the black deck with just like an ancestral time walk and a sonic blast, or like would something else be better? Like I've tried to make it work. Personally, I'm not a him. Him Naturak I think is a bit overrated as a card. I would rather be against the him than the one casting him. Almost always. I mean, I've been wrecked by hymns. Who hasn't? But I don't want to draw that turn 10 hymn, which is what I do when I cast hymns. Like I always get hymned on turn 2 and turn 3, and I'm like, oh, okay, I sure know you got all my lands, good job. But when I play him, I'm usually like, all right, I hymn you, and they're like, oh, I didn't need those cards anyway, and then you do nothing for a few turns, and you draw him on turn 10, which is usually terrible. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a popular budget deck. He beat mono white I think in the first round, so
good. Yep.
I was probably going to play either mono white or mono black, and I'd much rather play mono black, right? Mono white at least has chance and swords.
Mono white has a better way, like it lines up better. The removal is
exactly. I'm still think I have a good matchup. I did have a falling star and I did have an earthquake, so like, but it actually has interaction. It's difficult to be have no interaction in old school. You're rock paper scissors, but you're not doing anything in the meantime. So I'm just gonna, like you said, I'll play the Triskelion, and good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, easy 5-0. And yeah, nothing really to learn, I don't think, from that, other than shops is you can mulligan a lot. You can lose the die roll every round.
Yeah. If you need to learn more about shops, get yourself a copy of this magazine, and
Yeah.
then read like the 20 pages that Will wrote on it.
Yeah, he has a good thing. And it's like the primer of Berlin shops in Tackle Mag. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a good one. I did skim read through it again. I was actually talking with Will, and I said something, and he's like, "That's not what I wrote in my article." And I was like, "Oh man, okay, I'll go back and reread it. I'll go back and reread it. It's my bad."
I'll probably never own a set of shops. I read it in case I ever have to play against shops, so I get an idea of like the other side of the
Yeah.
table.
I don't own a full set of shops either, but this was, I guess I never mentioned that this was a proxy friendly event.
Yeah, that's probably why. Actually, that's probably why you saw so many of the decks.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, that played into it for sure. I to some extent. Of the three people I played, one of them could have made it fully real the deck. The other two probably couldn't.
Right.
But so I'll say this: I don't think the deck is very good in 4-strip.
I think most people agree with you on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Quinn is the exception on that. I think he's the exception. I think he has cut his teeth on 4-strip, and he knows how he wants to play his version of the deck in 4-strip. But I think on average, it's not very good in 4-strip. So it's certainly much worse than Swedish and much worse than Atlantic.
Oh yeah, for sure. What else? Any hijinks after the big W?
Pretty quiet night. We went to the only food I didn't choose, which somebody chose, like stoner Jimmy John's. It wasn't an actual Jimmy John's, but like a stoner sandwich shop. But they did, so it was fine. But they did have a sandwich called the 5-0, which I had to get, right. I had no
obligated. It doesn't
yeah.
matter.
So it kind of worked, and it was like 6 p.m. or something, and they had their happy hour every day from 4:20, heavy eye roll, to 7 something, some number that means something else that I didn't even know what it meant actually.
Yeah.
But they were like, oh yeah, that's because of blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so they had $2 well drinks at this place. So in Austin, yeah, I was like, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. So anyway, yeah, so we ate some food, grabbed some drinks, and we went, and then we walked back to go to Tweedy's. Everyone had already gone, grabbed some dessert, back to the Airbnb, and just hung out. Pretty quiet. And then Sunday, none of us played vintage.
Yeah, I figured.
My plan was to go for a hike. When we woke up, it was me calculate Fahrenheit. It was like 26 degrees Fahrenheit, so below freezing.
It was cold as fuck for Texas. Fact.
Very cold, very cold. And I was like, I still want to go for a hike, but maybe let's go eat breakfast, and then maybe we'll drive like an hour towards Houston, and we'll just go for a hike, and then we'll continue, and it'll be above freezing. That was kind of the plan. So we went to a taco place. Excellent tacos. Veracruz, I think it's called. Actually, just excellent breakfast tacos. And then we drove to Bastrop, and we went for a hike in Bastrop. We found basically it was Bastrop State Park, and we found the highest altitude, which is nothing because Texas, because we're not in far west Texas, so literally nothing. But we just went for like a short, like I think it was like 3.2 miles. Nice. But just like a quick, get the blood flowing, hang out, just chat on the little hike. But it was good, and we did that for whatever, and then got back in the car and finished the journey. So a nice kind of a little bit of everything, right? I think get some good food, hang out, play some Magic and drink, get a little bit of a hike in. Very like nothing was rushed. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're back in Houston, by the afternoon. Just a really, kind of a chill weekend. And then Monday was a holiday. So
yeah. perfect layup.
Yeah,
Just like
it was
because you have time to like recover. You know what I mean? Like get shit in order.
exactly, exactly. Time to recover, and then Tuesday because of the freeze. Tuesday was like schools were canceled.
Oh yeah, like so. This is not match related. For like the 5-ish years, I've lived in Texas twice now, but like the last set of 5 years, uh, it didn't freeze the first 2 or 3 years, and then the last 3 years, there's been like a fucking freeze. And for those
Yeah,
who don't know about Texas, they have their own electrical grid. Minus West Texas is on the federal grid, so the rest of Texas is on their own grid, and for
yeah.
political reasons, it's irrelevant. The point is that that grid is not meant to handle freeze. It's not meant to handle people turning on their heat. Everybody turning on their heat in the winter.
Or everyone
Um,
turning on their AC in the summer. Quite frankly,
oh, have you
the
guys been having? I never had issues in San Antonio, but I'm sure Houston probably like a little bit different situation.
so in the last like 2 years they started doing. It's not like like was that 2020 when like the whole grid went out in the
Yeah,
freeze. It's not like that, but in the summer they have rolling blackouts because the peaks are so high. So again, like you might only be without power for like a couple hours, which
sure.
is more annoying than anything else.
Yeah, it's not great,
But
but it's not
again,
terrible. Yeah,
but it's they have the grid is not made. So I think just as temperatures are getting more extreme, more cold and more hot, and the more
not great.
heat is more AC, and the more cold is more heat, and it's not made for either, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like, I was talking to some non-magic friends about it, and like that, and like pipes in Texas are not meant to go below freezing, which is probably
Yeah,
the biggest concern, is because people just aren't prepared to go wrap pipes or like even have the forethought to do it. So that's
correct.
always the tough part.
Everyone's using their Whataburger cups.
As you do, dude, you can do it. You can do it. But let me be very clear. The one I was talking with a friend who we were both nurses in Texas, and I just ended up in the same hospital here in Washington. I missed two things a lot. HEB, number one miss of all
Yeah,
time. The
easy.
aka the shadow government of Texas. Like, let's be
Yeah.
honest. And then Whataburger, which they just put one in Las Vegas, but I didn't go to it when I was out there.
I love HEB because it's great,
Yeah,
obviously.
the best.
And Central Market is like even more insane. Like
Yeah,
the HEB
HEB
Central
plus.
Market is
Yeah,
it's I just tell people I'm like it's better than Whole Foods, and they're like
100%.
what?
Yes.
And I actually have a guy. He's Italian, but he moved to Houston. And he was like going, and he's like, I was like, oh, where are you like shopping? He's like, oh, like Whole Foods. He's like, it's not really as good. He moved from LA. He's like, it's not really as good as in LA. And I was like, okay, you're going to the wrong place. Go to this place. And he was like, sort of dubious, and he came like so excited. He was like, this place is better than Whole Foods. This is amazing. Like, thank you so much. Because like he was getting stressed. He was, and he was like, Houston is really bad for um, Italian food restaurants. It's okay, but
Sure.
for actual Italian food products to cook with, it's not very good. There's no Italian community in Houston,
Mm,
basically. It's one of the communities that like doesn't really exist. If you're basically any community from Asia, we have a huge Asia
got
town.
it. Yep.
There's a huge Southeast Asia point. All of that stuff we've got covered, and a lot of European stuff. For whatever reason, not a big Italian community. I
Mm,
guess just geographically, they all went to the Northeast to Chicago, I guess.
yeah.
But anyway, so like you can't get a lot of stuff. But yeah, he like loves it. Yeah, HEB, such market. I will. So I'm not. I think you know this. I'm not a big fast food fan, but I think Whataburger is also super overrated. Not as overrated as what's the
In and out.
California one? Oh my god. So
I think In and Out's fine. But I love Whataburger. I do,
so
dude.
I think In and Out burgers are fine. I could
Yeah,
eat
they're
it.
fine. Yeah.
Their chips, their French fries are inedible. They are the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my life. Like, I don't know how they can serve it with a straight face. Like
Okay. All right.
that, I don't like. I've only eaten there probably 3 or 4 times, and like and this is I'm giving this strong opinion because like I was so confused. I was like, I don't know how you're serving
Yeah.
this.
People hype it up. People hype it up, dude.
But yeah, the burgers are fine. Like I would eat a burger from there, but I would never. I don't. Yeah, Whataburger is just fine. Like I have eaten a fair amount of Whataburger. I live like for people that like Whataburger, I live like enviably close to a Whataburger. I can walk to one from my house.
Yes.
There's one at the end of my street. So like it is like always an option. Like I will get it for the kids sometimes, or like if usually if my wife like goes out with friends and she like comes back a bit drunk, that's like
That's
she's
it.
like,
That's where
we're
it's at.
getting Whataburger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast food question. What do you think, Culver's is better or worse than Whataburger? I think Culver's is actually better. It's just it was further away from my house, so I didn't go as often.
Yeah, I think it's probably better. So I will say this. I think that fast food chicken is where it's at for fast food. I think
Okay.
fast food chicken is much better than the burgers. I really like burgers. I think fast food burgers are kind of bad, right? They're
Okay.
kind of I've had Culver's. It's the thin one, right? And
Yeah, they like smash
yeah,
burgers, but that's not.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever. That's what the
yeah.
kids call
Yeah, and so like I'm willing to pay a bit more to get like it could be a smash burger, whatever, but like more meat, kind of a meatier,
it. Hmm.
fresher burger than like kind of the gray burger you sometimes get at fast
Yes.
food places.
Yeah.
It's just like the frozen. I think Culver's is like it's always fresh, never frozen. I think that's one of their things.
Who knows?
Who kn
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I think fried chicken is better. That's a bias I have. So, but I do think that fried chicken is probably would be my preference if I'm going to have fast food.
All right. Episode 3. The next episode you're on, we'll talk about our favorite fried chicken joints.
Okay.
I have like a problematic one, but I'll leave it be. Okay.
Mine is the same as Beyonce's. So
Now I have to look that up because I don't actually know. I don't follow Beyonce.
it's
I get it, but I don't get it.
I don't either, but she's from Houston. There's a fried chicken place in Houston called Frenchie's that's really popular.
Okay.
It's good. They closed a lot of them down, unfortunately, but it's not in the best part of town. Let me say that.
Sure. Fuck it. And the best food never is. Like,
I went there. Food is really good. I went there. I ordered a bunch of food for my wife and I, and there was 2 friends with us as well, and they were struggling to understand me. And so with our order, we got like lemon pound cake. I didn't even see it on the menu, and I definitely didn't order it. But like somehow this guy, and so like there's this ongoing joke. Like I will go to places and like I don't have a particularly strong accent. I always joke with people like if I tell people where my mom's from and where my dad's from, if you mix those accents, nobody could understand me. Because both of my parents have very regional sort of British
sure.
accents. And I have kind of a neutral accent, plus living abroad for a long time, including in the States, I've kind of have a very mellow accent now. So I don't think I'm very hard to understand. But it's funny because I will get the most random things. And like my wife will be like, why did you order this? I'll be like, I didn't order that. I didn't order that. Like why is there a whole like lemon pound cake? Like why like we came for fried chicken. Like why is
it even on the menu? That's the real question. Like not those two don't go together. It doesn't fucking happen.
Just bizarre. But yeah, Frenchie's is my favorite. But yeah, we could do more national chains. Again, I'm not a big fast food person, but I would if I'm driving, right? Sometimes you can only eat fast food. Well, so my preference would be if I'm driving, I'm usually looking like in Texas, I'm going to go eat barbecue or kolaches if I'm in the right spaces.
Yep.
Or I'm going to look for a small town. I'm going to go to their diner, not their IHOP or their Denny's. I'm going to go to whatever the local diner is. That will be a preference. Well, I'd rather go eat like breakfast than eat fast food, right? So just go eat bacon and eggs somewhere at some little diner, something like that. But again, I have kind of an aversion to fast food. I will jump through quite a few hoops before I eat it. I will eat it because sometimes you have no choice, but
if we'll be done with fast food. If you come out here, we'll have to go to Taco Time. It's not great, but you just need to experience it, and then we can like we can just let it go.
Okay.
We'll like eat it and then we'll go eat, or like we'll do vice versa. We'll eat and then go eat. Like we'll do
go eat again. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a time and place, right, for the late night, whatever, right? Drunk food or whatever. There's a time and place for most food. So it's when people start really hyping fast food, that's what gets me, right? It's that. This is the best
I'm not
burger.
Gonna die for any of these places. I'm not gonna do that.
Right. This is the best burger I've ever had. And I was like, from I think you should leave. Like, are you sure about that? Like,
you should like. It's like an asterisk. It's like it's the best fast food burger I've ever had. Like I feel like that's a fine qualification.
At 2:13 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like, okay, that's probably accurate. Like
that's fair.
Yeah. So Yeah. Okay. Sorry
No,
to
it's fine.
digress
It's
to fast food.
fuck 'em. I love talking about that. I don't even eat like we're probably on the same page. I eat fast food maybe once every 6 weeks, maybe even less than that. But like I still love to argue about it. The
Yeah. Yeah.
let's talk 2024 goals. What because we talked about this like offcast, but like and we can keep it brief or I can split this off at some point, but like what are you trying to get done this year old school wise?
Do you want me to do 2023 or so I have some holdovers from 23.
Hit it. Hit the holdover. Do your thing. It's an open
Okay.
space.
Okay. So I did a ton of travel last year.
Yes, you
That
did.
was one of my goals. Like, well, for me, right? I mean, it was a lot of travel, and that was not just magic travel, like family travel as well. So I went to Arvika, I went to Kumite. I did a trip to Cincinnati that was a work trip, but I managed to tag on to go hang out with Cincinnati guys. I went to LobsterCon. I did my own event in Houston. I went to Spike Summit. I think those are all my trips. That's 6 trips. For me. That's a lot of magic trips in one
Yep.
year, with someone with kind of a demanding job plus 2 kids and wife and what have you. And then also we went to Disney last
Cool.
year.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh
We talked about that. I think before I went. We
yes.
talked about it before. Yeah. So I went to Disney because we went to a wedding. That's so it was kind of a forced Disney, which quite frankly was good because if my wife had shown me the price, I would have said absolutely not. We're never going to do this.
No way.
But we had no choice because we had to go for a wedding. So and we checked the box, so it was good and it was fine. And we went to Mexico City, which was amazing. Highly
Hot trip
recommend
for
that.
food. Great place.
So you want to talk about fast food? That is fast food.
Yeah.
Is Al Pastor. And it's like 30 cents for a taco.
Yeah. Just smoking grits on the street, and then you're like, let's just have the best tacos of our lives. And it's like $1. You're like, it
Yeah.
fucking like, yeah.
It's $1 when you don't ask for change. It's
Yes.
like less. The food is just it's S tier food, S tier weather. We went in the middle of the Houston summer, so it was over 100 degrees in Houston, 67 degrees in Mexico City.
Yep. Elevation matters, folks.
Yeah, so amazing. And then we did our yearly San Antonio trip, and then we were away. I was away over Christmas, so no derby for me. We were in the UK and France and Germany over Christmas. So a big travel year. So which was one of my things. I wanted to travel to Europe. I wanted to get some new old school events, which I did. I'd never been to Kumite before, hadn't been to LobsterCon before. I want to do more magic commentary last year, which I did. I streamed the Winter Derby and the Summer Derby. Really enjoyed that. Hoping to stream some this
Coming up.
Winter
Closes
Derby as
tomorrow.
well.
Yeah.
I was traveling the whole winter, so I didn't play in the Derby. At least I know Ty made top 16.
I haven't looked, but yeah, I assume.
I don't know if it's even announced.
surprised.
I think. But anyway, there's so I hopefully do some commentary. One of my big things for last year was I wanted to play a different deck in every tournament,
Same. Yep.
which I did. So I told you I traveled to 6 events, and then I think I played in 4 or 5 online events, let's say.
Yep.
So less than 12 events. I think maybe 10 or 11 events I did throughout the whole year. Played a different deck in every one, which was great. I want to here's something that's a holdover that I didn't get to. I want to win an Atlantic event. It's a gap on my, so this is completely irrelevant, of course, because the winning and losing really doesn't matter, but I kind of like to do stuff and then I don't care about it, if that makes sense.
Yes, I got once you achieve, you're like, fuck, and then you just like forget about it. Yeah.
Correct. So I kind of like I'm sort of like Magic was like that when I used to play like more competitive Magic. The goal was like to play on the Pro Tour, and then I did it, and I could have cared less. Like
Yeah.
I checked the box. I never need to do this again. I don't want anything to do with it. I just wanted to see like it's more of a challenge for me than anything else. It's just like, can I do this thing? Oh, I can do that thing, and then I like lose interest because I'm just like, oh, okay, I managed to do it. Like I had a hypothesis, I had proof of concept, and then I did the thing. So yeah, I have a pack event, I have an EC event, I have a Boreal, I have Swedish, I have a second place in Atlantic event. I've only played like 3 or 4 Atlantic events anyway. It's probably the one I played the least.
Mhm.
So frustrating that I got a second. And I don't like actually doesn't matter because like for a lot of things, like I don't care. I don't need to be first, but like just making top 8 is usually sufficient. For a lot of like my goals is like, oh, I'd like to do well with this deck, or I'd like to play this deck, and like getting a top 8 is fine. Like I don't have to win, as it were. I could care less about that. That one's just a bit frustrating because I have like a first in all the other things. And then
Yeah, you just want to like complete. You just like the trophy's got to make sense. I get it. Like,
it's
yes,
yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. And then like you can go deeper, right? Like I think I have a second place in 7 point, and I have like a top 8 in X point. I've only played X point once. I have
I'm
first
not
in
going
alpha.
that deep. I'm not going that deep on like.
Yeah, I have alpha, and then like I've won a Spike Fest, I've won a derby, I've won a summer derby. Do I need to win a winter derby? I don't know. I don't. The winter derby is like impossible for me to play, so it's probably never going to happen, even
Yeah.
if I want it, because like I it's family time, very much
Yep.
family time. So very difficult to like do that. But yeah, so I end up doing well in an Atlantic event is something that's on there. I didn't do that. Also have this. So counterpoint, right? Everyone's like rolling their eyes right now. Counterpoint to this. I didn't do it, but it was on my list for last year, was to win a Spice Prize. So part
Yeah.
of my
Uh-huh.
also checking the boxes is I want to flip the other way hard too. And one of the goals is to see if I can build and pilot and play a deck that I won't kill myself, and also get a Spice Prize. So that's again sort of another counterpoint. I actually have brewed some decks. I haven't taken one to an event.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah. So that one's a holdover as well. So that was a one for last year. And then I have a lot of like collection stuff. I don't know how deep or not you want me to go and stuff, but like I finished the Power 9 proxies that are done by the original artists.
Yeah, I saw the you showed me some pictures of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
pretty sick stuff.
I had 5 Moxen, Ancestral, Time Walk, but I didn't have Time Twister or Lotus.
I've
I
seen the
finished
lotuses.
I finished it last year. So I finished both of them. I have a full set now. So I have a Power 9 proxy set done by the original artists. Which I played in Austin because proxies are allowed. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play
Yeah.
with the most
Perfect
expensive
timing.
proxies
Yes.
in the room.
100%. 100%.
It's kind of so. Again, this is an aside, but I have argued for a while, and I will put this out there: those should be legal as cards.
You're not going to get a counter argument from me. I think we can argue about how many and of what people should be able to proxy for an event. But
You like numbers, like 10 proxies, or
yeah,
like
I
you can
I think
proxy
we can
Power
take
9, but not
yeah, take like a
something
page out of the
else.
vintage guys who've been doing this for fucking ever. They
Yeah.
allow a little bit of the proxy. I don't
So
know. I
so
can be either way.
so I prefer non-proxy. I've lost this battle in Texas, unfortunately.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
I've lost this battle. Um, there's a few awesome guys that prefer non-proxy as well. There's like me and Winston that prefer non-proxy in Houston, but I'm not willing to die on the hill. Unfortunately, some people that are just louder voices have sort of said like no, and I could, because like I'm running the event
Yeah,
to some extent.
it's
I
my
could
event.
definitely put my foot down, but I sort of lost that. But in Simon's ideal world, I would say that one of the things that people say is, well, the cards are too expensive. Okay, fine. So the proxies that are done by the original artists. So Lotus is problematic. So put that aside, because
Yeah,
obviously there's no more of
that's a
those.
tough one. Yep.
And actually, the Time Twister is actually like kind of unreasonably expensive for what it is, because like Tadine is just like his rates are just super high. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it looks amazing, but like it was It was expensive for what it is, I think.
It's probably like
Anyway.
a CE Twister's worth of value.
Yeah, a little bit less than a CE Twister.
Okay.
A little bit less than CB. I don't know how much. The CE Twister's above 500, I guess. It's less
I
than
would
500.
assume. Yeah.
Put it
Okay.
that way. Anyway, the Moxon Fraser does them all the time, and I think you can buy a set for like $300
It's not bad.
ish, 350. Yeah. Anyway, my thing is we want old school to grow. We want the original artists to keep making money. So this is like win-win for me. It looks cool. You're giving money to the original artist, and everyone knows exactly what it is. So like it's just a complete no-brainer for me that those should be legal for old school events. So like that would be like there's a lot of cascading things I would do as well, but from a base level line, I think that those should be legal. I think they are fun. They give money to original artists. There's just no downside to those. There's not counterfeiters making money. Like they're just like they're all like everything is like aligned with the ethos of old school. I think they should be allowed.
I can get behind that. I like the argument. Like, I mean, like, the good thing about this year is that prices are going down. Because like one of my goals is like my collection is relatively small compared to most people. And this year I'm gonna travel less and buy more. So I'm gonna start buying. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I did that for many years. Like my friends would travel for Legacy, and I didn't travel. Right? I was like, I could buy a dual land.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, like I'm gonna do Sean's event obviously because it'd be fucking awesome. I'm gonna go down to Portland and do Cam's event because again it's awesome. But I have put nothing else on the schedule for the rest of 2024. Asterisk on February. I booked that in 2023. It doesn't count. So
okay, I have the event I just went to. This is getting ahead to 24, but I have one event. I'm going to Europe in the summer. I have one event on the schedule. That's it. Yeah. I really, really want to go to Sean's event. I have a flight ticket. Okay. So it's not out of the question, but like I also like I actually it's not collection. It's not even really money. It's more the time.
Because you got to come out early because Friday is really more important than Saturday.
Yeah, it's the time to get to the events is rough, and being in Texas is bad because I'm a 4-hour flight to the Northeast, 4-hour plus flight, and same to the West Coast. Yep. So every event in the U.S. that I'm going to fly to is at least 4 hours, and you're beholden to the times that the airlines fly, and taking off a Friday is rough. One of the things I set out for like as a personal non-Magic related goal was traveling more with the family. I want to travel more with the kids. That's part of why we traveled a lot last year. We didn't travel during the pandemic for obvious reasons. It's important to me to travel and for my kids to travel more. We went back and saw family in the UK, what have you. But like, it's time. A lot of that is that just time. Like I just don't have infinite Fridays to take off. Absolutely. So that's a big part of it. So yeah, but the Sean event is one that I would love to go to. And like LobsterCon, I really enjoyed it. I'm also like kind of don't want to double dip events I've already been to when there's other events I also want to go to. That's a really tough tension, I think.
Give me 1 second. My wife is yelling at me. I'm not sure how I'm going to cut this. Yeah, hon, I'm downstairs. I'll feed the cats in a minute. It's cat time. The
Do you want to feed him, Eric, real quick? You want to go feed him?
It's gonna take longer than you might think.
Okay.
Let's just keep going. You know what? Actually, no, fuck it. We'll continue this. We'll do a 3rd episode at some point. Okay. I gotta go feed these cats because my wife will get pissed at me. I'm leaving this in though. This will be part of the episode.
That's fine. Look, you gotta feed you gotta you don't want the cats to be waiting for their dinner and angry wife.
Yes, I don't want a cold dinner and an angry wife. And like my cats eat very specific timings, so it's a tough one.
Do you have to like feed different things to the different cats?
Yes. Fuck, dude. Oh man. Okay. I will tell you about. I'll tell you about it. You probably will hate it, but like yes.
I have to feed my kids different things, so I mean it's just as bad. I mean I hate it. It's like one kid wants to eat one thing, another kid wants to eat something, and then my wife's like, I don't want egg. So it's like, oh god, we're just like cooking 4 different meals. Like this is nonsense. Like this is so
Yeah.
inefficient. I hate it. Like I have one son who's super picky.
It's the worst.
But kind of easy because like he will just eat the same thing every day. So it's like,
yeah, perfect. Okay.
so it's sort of like this is annoying, but and like he lives on eggs at the moment.
Could be worse. Could be way worse.
He basically eats eggs and tortillas. He's kind of unintentional vegetarian, but yeah. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, and then like everyone else wants different stuff. It's just like, oh, nonsense. So, but anyway, go feed the cats.
Yep. All right. We'll talk goals. I'm not going to cut the end of that episode. We'll just do another episode about goals.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Later, dude.
All right. Cheers. Bye.